Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. We have very active lifestyles. It's not all wandering the countryside aimlessly or scaring passing motorists. And we all love a good cup of joe. And there's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. Bold, robust, delicious. It's coffee that can wake the dead. With over a dozen different roasts and flavors, Deadly Grounds can satisfy the most finicky of coffee addicts. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Persons under 18 will not be admitted.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another kick-ass episode of Still Toking with. You know who I am, I think. Well, if not, my name's right there somewhere. Anyway, the man that always brings flash to flashy, Mr. Jeffrey Mark.
Top of the evening to you, everybody out there, and to my boys and girls. Hey, I'm excited about tonight's show. Many years ago, did a series of specials about horror films and the places where they were made. And this is the first time I'm going to have a chance to talk with, at least on camera, one of the people who populates those films. So this is exciting for me. So all of you guys out there who love this genre or just love beautiful girls, you're going to have a good time. And I want to share this good time with the other Jeff Holman. How are you, boy?
I am doing well. I did want to say that you posted this picture and asked people to find you.
Yes, sir.
What's this? Find fucking Waldo or something? I mean, and the problem is it was a black and white photo.
Right.
So I couldn't see your bling, dude.
Well,
bling don't show up in black and white.
That film, so guys, what he's talking about is a photo of me and 100,000 other people in a protest march from the 70s. And I'm really right up front there on the left, and no one can figure it out because there is no bling. And I'll give you a hint. I don't have a beard, but I do have a mustache.
Oh, you're that dude?
I was a teenager.
You're that dude? All right, listen.
All right, let's get it on.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. I've seen so many of these movies that she's been in. And I'm kind of blown away that we're actually going to be able to sit and chit chat with her. Let's bring her right in. Sarah French.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Guys, I got to say, killer intro. I love it.
Thank you.
Most people
Thank
say
you.
it's too long. I mean, actually, Anson Williams said it was longer than most California wildfires. So, you know,
or most show business marriages.
right?
Oh,
Right?
Yeah.
It's actually longer than some of the showbiz episodes that are out too. I'm just gonna say.
Right.
I can see that.
Wow. So you're in LA, right?
Yes, I am. And it was a dreary day, but now the sun's finally starting to come out. So it's so far a great day in LA.
Likewise here in Palm Springs.
Ah.
Yeah, we're in Massachusetts. I want to stay as far away from LA as possible.
I love Massachusetts. I swear I've been on this show before.
You
Haven't
were. Yes.
Yeah.
You came on this show. You
This was a few years back, I think.
Garo?
Yeah.
Is it Garo?
Yeah, Gato.
Yes.
Was
Gato.
it for Automation or Space Wars?
Space Force.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And Sarah, you should know that's a very rare privilege. These guys and I now almost never have anyone back a second time. That makes you special.
Well, I feel special. Well, thank you for having me.
It's all Jeff Holman's fault.
I requested it.
You gotta get Sarah on the show. I'm like, yeah, I did. I missed that show for Space Wars. I think I was in New Hampshire on vacation.
Right.
Yeah, Jeff and I stay in contact online, so that definitely
Oh, I'm
helps.
sorry.
Gee, I can't imagine why he's staying in touch with you.
Yeah.
Good heavens, girl, you are beautiful.
All right,
She
so
sees
let
pictures
me
of
get
my
this straight.
snake, and I see pictures of her snake. That's kind of ass
Yes.
backwards, isn't it?
You know what's funny? I was gonna bring Eden.
I got
on
it, Jeff.
today. I was gonna bring her on the show, but I just fed her 2 days ago, and she has this crazy feeding response. And so she was like, when I was like getting towards her, she was like in attack mode. So I was like, okay, I better leave her alone.
So to clarify, Jeff, you and I do a lot of touring, and you have 2 stalkers, legit. So now you decided to stalk Sarah? Is that how it's working here? Just
No, not at all.
sure.
I would never admit anything like that on a public platform anyway.
You gotta keep it secret. That's what stalking's all about. You gotta keep it on the down low.
Right. No, I mean, I'm a horror movie nut. I'm just busting your ass.
I
know you are. I love all horror movies. All of them.
And Ben, I think you misunderstood. He's not stalking Sarah. He wants to show Sarah his stock. It's a different use of the word.
Oh,
See?
my
There
bad.
you go.
My bad.
It all makes sense now.
Of course.
I see how it works.
Hey, I didn't see a bus go by that you could throw me under.
But I'm sure there's one right around the corner.
Taxi.
Well, not in my little town.
Speaking of little towns, what a great segue. Melrose, Minnesota. Now, I've been to Minnesota. I've never been to Melrose. Is there just this enormous culture shock coming from that part of the country in such a small place to being in the LA venues? How did you make that transition and not lose your brain? That was a question.
It was hard. I mean, I grew up in a town called, Melrose, Minnesota, and it was a town at the time of, I think it was like 2,200 people. And it's a small farming community. And, you know, I grew up there, went to school there, and then transitioned in my high school years, I transitioned to a town called Anoka, Minnesota, which is the Halloween capital of the world, by the way. I don't know why, but that's what it is. And which makes perfect sense for me because I'm, you know, big into horror and everything. But, you know, from that transition alone was huge for me because Anoka, you know, it's a huge city. So I went from a town of 2,200 people to a high school of like 3,000 people. So I think that kind of helped me with, you know, that kind of transition. And then from there, I, you know, over the years moved on to Rochester, Minnesota, and then from Rochester I moved over here. But you know, it's been a journey, and it was a big hard transition moving from Minnesota to LA. It's so different. You know, Minnesota's just it's, you know, it's slow paced, chill, laid back, and LA is just a whole different beast.
Zoom, 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 zoom.
Right. I couldn't drive on the highway for probably the first 8 months of living here. I was so scared of the 405, the 101. Everything you've heard about LA is pretty much true.
Don't you have a lot of lanes you can pick from, though?
6
You
each
do,
way.
but it's all congested.
Yeah, well. Okay.
Yeah, but
Coming from New York, I didn't even own a car till I was 30, out in Los Angeles. The very first day I had to drive on the freeway. And I went, well, I'm either going to get killed or I'm going to learn how real fast. And knock on wood, I learned how real fast. But it's
Right.
frightening. It is, right? Frightening.
right. When you're driving in Minnesota, the things you have to worry about are deer and other animals running in the road, ice, things like that. It's not, you know, the crazy traffic that we have here. It's very, very different. But I also forgot to mention, I did part of my childhood, I grew up on a farm too, a dairy farm.
Oh.
So that's, you know, part of it.
Nope.
Like,
I'm
all of
not
it
going
too.
to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not.
So that's the other side of you.
Ah, good one.
But
Yeah, I
bump.
said it.
Makes me wish I had one of those soundboards right beside me to go wah wah wah.
Right.
I think
Right.
I'm really grateful that I was able to, you know, part of my childhood grow up on a farm because that's really where I learned my work ethic. You know, living out here in LA and being an actor, you have to have really great work ethic or you're not going to make it.
Well, especially the kind of films you do. People don't realize horror films are so physical.
Oh,
Take
yeah.
so many hours of makeup and cost. It's maybe one of the hardest genres if you're an actor to be in, because it's constant. It's like being in Los Angeles on a freeway making those
Right.
kinds of films.
Yeah, it's very physically demanding and also mentally demanding. And you have to be both physically strong and mentally strong to be able to do this kind of work, for sure.
Now, you do all your own stunts too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I love doing stunts. I say light stunts because if I say stunts, then people are going to want to throw me out of a car or something. I don't want to do that. But I do like doing my own as many stunts as I can. And because I'm strong, I can handle myself. And I know, you know, the basics of like falling and things like that. And, you know, I work out a lot. I'm very physical. So I can handle a lot of that. So I do like to do my own, you know, regular stunts, but I also like to do fight stunts as well. Like in Space Wars, I do all my own fight choreography and stunts in that as well.
Did you have dance training or some sort of karate or anything like that to prepare you for this?
No, but I've just always been, you know, health is like, you know, key for me. It's always been a part of, you know, since I got out of high school, I got big into physical fitness and things like that. And it's always been a, you know, an important part of my life. And which has followed me into this career. Like, you know, we said you have to be healthy and and strong and fit. I mean, you know, you see people that don't have that kind of mentality, and that's fine. But for me, like, that's an important part of, you know, who I am and what I do, and, you know, just my everyday lifestyle. But no, I never did any of that. I wasn't really big into sports. I mean, I was a goth kid. I was quiet. I was shy. I had black hair.
You were goth on a farm?
No, that was not.
How's that
This was
work?
my high school years.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, how's that work?
Yeah, right. So yeah, it's been interesting, that's for sure. But yeah, so
is it true that there was a little bit of transition time there where you were going to college for criminal justice work?
yes, well, you know, back in the day when I was going to high school, you know, they really pressured you. If you don't know what you want to do as a career right when you get out of high school, you're a loser. You know, they pressured you so much. They're like, you have to know what you want to do, you know, and I get it. Like they want to just try to help you, you know, get to that, you know, find what you really want to do in life. But sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Sometimes you need, you know, when you get out of high school, you just need to kind of take a break and just try to learn who you are and figure out, you know, what you really want in life. Nothing is like for sure. So I was like, God, what do I want to do? Well, first I actually wanted to go into mortuary science, because I was looking into maybe being a mortician, because, you know, I like all that horror and all that stuff. So I was like, well, maybe I'll do that. And then I spent the day with a mortician, and I was just like, I don't think I can do this. And it was funny, after I spent the day with him and we, you know, he showed me a body and everything, I was just like, we went to Perkins afterwards and had lunch. So
yeah, right.
yeah, I was like, okay, I don't think this is for me. And then out of high school, I transitioned into criminal justice, because I love learning about the criminal mind, you know, serial killers, what makes them tick, things like that. And I've always just really been into that. So I was like, well, maybe that's my calling. Maybe it's somewhere in the criminal justice field. So I went to college for a few years for criminal justice. I was close to getting my degree. But then, you know, the loans and bills started piling up, and I was like, I don't know if this is really what I want. And while I was going to college for that, I took a theater class, and that's really what made me fall in love with acting. I mean, I've always loved entertaining people and acting, because on the farm, we didn't have cable, we didn't have internet, we didn't have, you know, cell phones or anything like that. We had to entertain ourselves. So my sister and I would put on plays for family members. We would, you know, you just have to be very creative as a kid, because that's, you know, you just had yourself and your sister and other family members. But so that's kind of where my love of, you know, entertaining started. And then when I was in high school, I found, you know, a group of friends that, you know, I never did drugs, I never drank, nothing like that. We made short films, horror films, and I was always the one like pushing, because my friend had a VHS camera, and I was like, oh, we gotta make movies, we gotta, you know, I was like just so like into it. And I think they were, after a while, they were just like not as into it as I was, because I would always keep pushing, like, and I would write my own scripts and everything. I had no idea what writing a script was all about, or, you know, telling a story. I just did it. And I still have the movies somewhere to this day. I just don't know where. And they were on VHS, so who knows if they're any good anymore.
You should pull them out and redevelop them.
Right.
Revisit.
So,
yep.
I just, you know, I fell in love with that. And I mean, I didn't start drinking till I was 22 or 23. So, you know, I was just really focused on, you know, enjoying life, I guess, you know, another way. So yeah. And then, so when I was going to college for criminal justice, I felt like I fell in love with acting all over again. And then I was like, no, I want to be that girl running through the woods, half naked, bloody, battered from a killer or something, because I love horror films. I've been watching them since I was young. I was like, I want to be that girl. And in 2007, I got my first, I was searching online. I was like, looking up casting calls, and I found one for a film called Pajama Party Massacre. It was a short film. It's very bad, so don't watch it. I don't think you can find it anyway. But that's kind of where it all started. But I got into modeling before then, which helped me learn more about myself and be more open. And because, like I said, I was always very shy, so that really just kind of opened the door for me. And I was just like, this is amazing. I love this. I love creating, whether it's modeling or whatever, because you're still telling a story when you're modeling. So yeah, and here we are today.
Oh, so that's a pretty interesting. This is what I want to do. I want to be the blonde girl running through the woods, tripping over nothing.
I was gonna say it, but I didn't.
And that's happened. I've done numerous films like that now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I want to ask.
One of the biggest jokes. I'm sorry, Jeffrey.
No, finish.
It's one of the biggest jokes when Jeff and I do what we do a lot of horror conventions with what we do, and it's always the blonde girl running through the woods, tripping over air.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
But I mean, you got to kind of make it look like you're tripping on something.
Right.
That's what I try to do anyway.
But in the continuity of films, which we all kind of know, when the camera pans down because you're on the ground and it's just all flat, you go, okay.
What did they trip on?
Like, what did she trip? She doesn't even have shoes on. It wasn't even a shoelace. Like, what's going on?
It kills me.
But now that we ruined it for every horror geek out there, because they're all going to start looking for that.
Right. No, if they're not totally into your character or the movie and they're looking for reasons to nitpick it, then you already lost them. So
right.
True that.
It's like they should be so just into the movie and not looking at all the little things. Oh, that wasn't a spot on her before. Now it's on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like
just
nobody in their right
Guilty.
mind would go in there. Why would you go in there?
Guilty.
Right?
So the question I was going to start to ask. This is a serious one now.
Uh-oh.
I not a difficult one, just a serious one. Meaning, I'm asking respectfully. I've been in the business a very long time, and I've done tons of wonderful actresses. Almost all of them, when they've needed to do nudity in a film or on stage, even I've never heard anyone say, "Sure." I've heard, well, if the script needs it, or if the job depends on it, but I won't do this, and I won't. I hear all of these rationales, but why what they're about to do, they're not really doing it, but they're doing it anyway. Your attitude seems to be cool. How did you come to being so comfortable with that? Because there is an entire bunch of folks around you making a film. It's a whole crew there watching. And all your publicity, so we'll see if this is really true, is like, cool, let's do it. How did you get there?
Well, I mean, I'm just very comfortable with myself. I've always been comfortable with myself. I don't know. When I first got into modeling, it was like my second time modeling. It was with a Playboy photographer. And I was just, I liked his work, and I was like, I want to do that, and there's just, the female body is beautiful, and I'm not ashamed of it. And I think, there's so much taboo out there where like, oh my God, there's nudity. We're born naked. We're born naked. It's like, if you're comfortable with it, what's the big deal? Back in the day when I would do nudity in film, I was like, yes, let's do it. I'm cool with it. And I'm still that way, but it needs to serve a purpose within the story, within the movie. And if there's a reason for it, great, and not just to show, boobs or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, so I mean, for me personally, I've just always been comfortable with myself, and I have absolutely no problem with nudity. And if you're very comfortable with it and all that, what's the big deal? Just make sure you get paid for it. Don't do it for free.
And full transparency, I did an off-Broadway musical called The Greenwich Village Follies that was partially nude. I think if I had been like a sex symbol type of part, I don't know if I would have been, but I was a comedian. So, Jeffrey Mark tap dancing naked while he's singing a funny song, while everything's jumping up and down while I'm, that I was comfortable with.
I am never going to get that vision out of my head.
I don't know why you even put the vision in your head.
He just did.
Got me.
Boys, I was very popular. So, it worked well. It worked out well.
Ugh.
But if I would have been playing a dramatic part, I don't know how come, like when I saw Equus on Broadway and the main people are naked, it's like, I told them backstage, I don't know if I could do that. So I respect someone. That's why I said this is a question of respect, who is that comfortable and doesn't make a big deal and doesn't make a drama out of it. Just let's get this job done. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's you do what you're comfortable with. And if you're not comfortable with it, don't do it. I mean, it's that simple.
Well, and if you feel forced to do it, it's not going to look natural either.
No, God, no. And you can tell, like, and for those like actors that, are watching this show or people that want to get into it, it's, you have to just be comfortable with it. And if you're not, don't agree to do it, and don't agree to do it and then get to set and not do it.
Absolutely.
I have done that once, but that was, there was reasoning behind that. So, whatever, but just don't do that. Cause there's a reason why that, you're getting nude, for your part or whatever. So don't agree to do it and then not do it. It's just not proper.
These days, we've been belaboring this running naked and that kind of stuff in these kinds of films. These days, is it still done on location or is it mostly green screening these days?
Oh, it's all on location. Oh yeah, always. Unless it's like a huge budget film. Because doing green screen is so expensive to do it right. And it takes so much time. I mean, Space Force Quest for the Deep Star, for example, we're in space. So a lot of that's green screen. And, that's why it took the film so long to come out, because it took us a long time to get it right. So yeah, so with any sort of green screen stuff, the more you can do practical, the better. And that goes with anything. Effects, special effects, things like that. The more you're into the natural element, and a real setting is just so much better in general, unless you're like in a Marvel movie or something like that.
Oh,
and they
ask,
can afford a really great green screen.
I'm going to kind of change the subject a little bit here. Are your earrings clip-ons?
Yes, they are.
I want them.
Well,
Yeah,
because
I have.
No piercings and no tattoos. You don't like needles.
No. I actually I went, because I did my yearly exam and I got a blood test like a few weeks ago, and yeah, I was close to passing out. Isn't that funny? I do horror films. I get blood splashed on me, but I can't handle a needle. I just can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
trying to get better with it. It's all, I just psych myself out. That's all it is.
Wow.
I was trying to figure out how you got that question. I was like, does he have like ultra fucking zoom on his phone over there? What's he doing?
No,
it's
on
part
my
of the
IMDb.
publicity.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
It is.
Yeah. No, I read it. So
For our friends and fans who love you, because I'm sure there are so many out there who do. Oh, I think there you go. Like, okay, so there's a day where you're running and you're bloody and you've got dirt. Could you walk us through like a day, a Sarah French day on the set, starting like when do you get there and how do you get like that and how hard do you actually have to work on a day?
Oh, oh my gosh. Well, let's talk Pretty Boy.
Sure.
I was just gonna, yeah, it was a good segue.
Since Pretty Boy just came out from Lionsgate, and
Congratulations.
that movie's very, thank you. And that movie is very bloody, especially at the end of the film. And I don't want to give anything away, but that day in particular, it was a highly like emotional. That scene in particular is highly emotional, and my character, she's blind and she's tied up. She doesn't know where she's at, and she's basically trying to, save her life and, fight back Pretty Boy and the other person that's in the film, which I don't want to say who, but, so anyway, I do get completely splattered in blood in that particular scene. And I guess the process is I knew what I was getting into, and I did have to, kind of mentally prepare for that. A lot of it was because of the content that we were shooting that day and what my character was going through mentally. And, it's just one of those things where, you're in character, and I mentally preparing for something like that. It's just, once you get there and you're in the scene, you're ready to go. It just happens, it's hard to kind of mentally prepare for something like that. You just do it, you know what I mean? But we, before we started shooting and before I got tied up and everything, I had a talk with Marcel Wells, our director, Jonetta, the writer, and all of us, with the other actors. And we kind of just went through everything that we're going to do step by step, because when you get completely splattered in blood or any sort of special effects put on you, it's basically a one take sort of thing. So you got to get it right the first time. And that's a lot of pressure, like a lot. So you just have to make sure you're prepared. You know exactly what's going to happen. Oh, and our special effects artist, Joe Castro, he was there as well. So walking us through everything that he was going to do, and what the blood was made of, and, the pressure that is going to be, basically thrown at me. So yeah, so it's just, it's just really being prepared mentally, physically, and just knowing exactly what steps, it's all in steps. So, and that's the beauty of filmmaking. You can roll and then cut and then roll, you know what I mean? Or just keep rolling, and then, then they, finish it off in the editing room. But yeah.
Marcel is a very talented director.
Yeah, he is.
And he's also really good looking.
Yeah,
is Pretty Boy a sequel to Blind?
Yes. So Pretty Boy is a sequel to Blind. When Lionsgate picked it up, they wanted to let us know that they wanted it, if they were going to do it, they wanted to make sure it was going to be, it could be a standalone film, which it can be. But in order to get, all the context and the kind of what happens beforehand and why the characters are in the situation that they're in, it's good to watch the first one, which is Blind. And that's on most streaming platforms. And I'll just give you a quick rundown on what that movie is. So Blind is about this famous actress. She's at the height of her career. She lives in the Hollywood Hills in this beautiful glass house. And she decides to get laser eye surgery. Well, that doesn't go well, and she ends up blind. So in the film, you meet her about a year into her new life, trying to kind of regain her life back because she's lost everything. So, and then while she's going through all this, mental anguish, she's being stalked by a guy in a mask named Pretty Boy. So yeah, and then Pretty Boy the movie, it takes place right after Blind, so it's like a continuous thing.
All right, I give you big credit and huge kudos. I just watched Blind last week.
Oh.
And it's got to be difficult to pretend that you're blind because your eyes naturally want to look at things. And you did a fantastic job not doing that. And then that's got to be difficult because that's what I was looking for.
Right. And it was a challenge, and it was a new challenge for me to take on, and I loved every minute of it. You know, it's especially hard when you're talking to other actors in the scene. You always want to look at their eyes, but as a blind person, you can't, because you don't know where exactly they're standing. So, you know, I always had to look past people, and that was a challenge, because I'm just like, I just want to look at their eyes.
Right. Well, well done. Well done.
Thank you. I loved that film. It was such a special film for Joe, Marcel, and I. You know, that was the first film the three of us worked together on. So it really brought all of us together. We worked so well together, and that's why we knew we wanted a sequel to Blind, because, you know, with what the characters go through and everything, we're like, they deserve a sequel. They deserve to have their story told even more. So, you know, we're very fortunate to have producers that believed in us, that, you know, wanted to see a continuous story and to see what happens after the first film. So yeah, it's exciting.
I love the creepy food delivery dude too.
Right, Ben. Ben, he's so awesome, and he's such a dear friend, and we actually have him in a handful of our other films that we've made. See, we like to work with a lot of the same people, because especially if the role's right for them, because you know what they bring to the table, you can trust them, and you know, it's just so much fun to, you know, be able to work with friends.
Right. Being a singer, I'd love to hear about some of the music videos you've been in.
Oh gosh, I've been in a lot.
You stole that on me.
I'm sorry.
I mean, she's been in AC/DC videos, Killswitch Engage.
Yes. Killswitch Engage is one of my favorite bands, and I got to be in their music video, and I was like, this is heaven.
Did you like go? Ah!
Well, it was within the music video, it's a story. So the band wasn't there. They were in the East Coast, because that's where they're from.
Yep.
And so we shot basically the story in LA, and then they incorporated it into their set as they were shooting their own stuff. But yeah, I did that one. I've done a few Twisted music videos.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, what else? Oh, there's a bunch more. Detuned Kites. That one's more of like a rock video from Minnesota. I did, oh gosh, they're on my IMDb, most of them. I mean, I've done, it's hard to keep track of all of them.
So just real quick for everybody watching or listening to us later, blah, blah, check the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening, and you can find out all that information. Everything that we've been talking about tonight, from Pretty Boy to Blind to the music videos, it's all in the show notes. That's all. I just had to interrupt everybody for a minute.
Wow. That's your
like
job.
A public service announcement.
Public service announcement. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to throw a name at you. Child's Play.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about how that influenced you.
Well, when I was 5 years old, my grandma was babysitting my sister and I, and my mom was, you know, she still is, she's pretty religious, and we lived across the street from the church that we attended, so we would, you know, go to church every Sunday. And she was actually one of the teachers at the church as well. So anyway, my grandma was babysitting us. She brought us to the video store, and my sister and I were able to, pick out a movie that we wanted to rent. And I saw, I think it was a new release, the Child's Play cover. And I think that was the one with the apartment building and then Chucky looking down. Or was that the second one? Wait, no. Yeah. I think it was that one. Or it was his face. I can't remember exactly which one it was. I mean, this was so long ago. Anyway, so we talked to my grandma into renting Child's Play, and I'm sure my grandma knew exactly what she was getting into. And I'd like to say we tricked her into it, but I'm sure she knew, and she was just like, oh, I'll just, because grandmas are cool like that. And we watched it, and I literally just fell in love. I was scared to death. I was, terrified of my dolls for the longest time, but I loved that feeling of just being scared. And I was like, oh my God. And at that point, my sister and I were like, we got to rent more. We got to rent more horror movies. And back in the day, VHS covers, like that is what sold us. I miss those days of, going to the video store and, getting 5 movies, 5 nights, $5. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We used to do that all the time, Ben.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We had a video store. We had a video store literally what was like 30 steps from our houses. Jeff lived next door to me.
Right.
I grew up living next door to him, and we literally once a week would walk down to the video store. Oh, Faces of Death. Yep. Okay, let's get those 3.
Right.
Make them die slowly.
Yep.
Oh, yep. The Mutilator. Oh, yep. Let's watch. And we just.
Right.
Wow, that one was good.
The Chucky movies are so iconic that so it's multi-generational. How do you know this, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
I was on set once, so I told my then 12-year-old grandson, well, he mentioned the movie. I said, well, I know Chucky. I've held Chucky in my arms. He ran screaming out of the room. He was afraid of just the concept that his grandfather held Chucky. It's so iconic for people. I'm not surprised that it affected you that way.
Didn't the actor that played Chucky just pass away?
Yes.
I think I just saw that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yesterday?
I forget his
yesterday.
name, but yeah, it was like a week ago, I think.
Was it?
It was within the last week. I know that.
Was it yesterday?
No, I saw it. I saw it yesterday, but I'm not online a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I mean, the horror genre is just really kick-ass, no matter how you look at it. Whether it's the films, the actors and actresses, the fans, the events. You laugh, but like you've met my granddaughter, Jeffrey Mark.
Yes.
Lila. Well, one of my granddaughters that's been on the show, and Jeff knows my granddaughters, but we bring them to horror events, conventions. Like my family will come visit us, and they get to meet all these really cool people. The last one we were at, my 2.5-year-old granddaughter Lila saw a Chucky doll that was 3 times the size of her that somebody else had, and she literally went over and tried to take it from them. That's because we're talking about Child's Play and Chucky. It's something about that doll. My other daughter is a huge Chucky nut, so she has some of the dolls. But it was hilarious to see this little 1.5 tall kid trying to grab this 3 tall Chucky doll.
It's blown up over the years because of the TV show, and the TV show is so good. I actually auditioned to be on one of the seasons. It was actually one of the movies, the newer films, but I didn't get it, obviously. But just to have that option of being able to audition, but I was hoping to get on the TV show, but unfortunately it's no more. But
now, do you have a favorite horror actor or actress?
Ooh, that's a good.
There's a lot of them.
I really, as of recent, I'm really a big fan of Mia Goth. Like she's really, blown up over the last, handful of years, and the newer wise anyway. But older wise, I would say, not older wise, but like back in the day wise, I would say, I love obviously Jamie Lee Curtis. She's like the quintessential scream queen. She's been in so many great horror films. She's a badass. And she's supported the genre for as long as she's been doing it. And I love that. I love that she's so supportive of the genre. She's not ashamed, of being in the horror genre or anything like that. And she embraces it. And I love that.
So did Betsy Palmer, who played Chucky's the mother on all those films, who was a beautiful young actress who did serious Joan Crawford films, and then got known on television for being this, cutesy girl next door, I've got a secret panelist. And then she transitions as she matures into, and she loved doing it. She had a ball doing those films.
I love that. I have nothing but respect for, anybody that, number one, that does the genre, because it's, not everybody likes it, but it's so, like, the fan base is just so wonderful. Mm-hmm. Everyone's just so supportive of it, with the conventions and everything like that. And the fans are just so wonderful. And I wouldn't be doing this today without the fans and the support and the love. And I'm just so grateful and appreciative whenever anyone, watches my films.
Ruh-roh. It's that LA smog moving in.
Right.
You froze up for like 3 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So yeah. Well, yeah, no, because it was actually a good shot. It wasn't like you weren't like,
you look beautiful. You look beautiful.
Yeah.
Frenchie,
So,
was there a classic, since that's more my stuff, a classic actor or actress who either inspired you or who you took from as part of your, like, this is someone I admire?
Oh, are we good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you hear the question?
I did not.
The question was, is there a classic movie star who inspired you or you adored that's part of what you do today?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean, the one that comes to the top of my head, I would say, is actually Cassandra Peterson. I love her. She the Elvira, persona was so wonderful. She's been doing this a long time. She was a showgirl, and she got into acting and just, I don't know. I would definitely say Cassandra Peterson is one that's inspired me and has always been, so wonderful to the fans and the genre, and just, she is one sexy mama.
She put the sexy into horror. Are you kidding
Right.
me?
I agree.
Exactly. I love that.
I agree.
Yeah. Nice. I think that, people either like and love horror or they don't. There's no middle ground when it comes to, horror films, not in my opinion. Nope. And I think that is a direct result of what they watched for their first horror movie. Because if you didn't like your first horror movie, it turned you right off. That's just what I think. My first horror flick was The Hills Have Eyes, the original one.
Mm.
That was a midnight screening back in 1976, I think it was. And I've loved it ever since. You said
1976?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a great segue into a film I have that's going to be coming out this summer called Brute 1976.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that film, it's very Hills Have Eyes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Mm.
you know, the grimy, the gritty, the dirty, you know, creepy horror films that we grew up loving. And that one's also produced by my production company, which I haven't mentioned yet.
Well, why not?
We're just on a great chat of all sorts of stuff today. But after Pretty Boy, Joe, Marcel, and I, we worked so well together, we decided to start our own production company. So, you know, as the saying goes, if you want something done, you have to do it yourself. And we weren't,
true.
you know, we weren't getting good, you know, too many good things happening at the time here. We're like, you know what, let's create our own thing. Let's do our own thing. And, you know, make our own stories come to life that, you know, if nobody else wants to do them, we'll do them. And so our first film is a film called That's a Wrap. And that one's a very kind of 90s scream style, you know, beautiful pinks, you know, pink, red colors type of film. And then after that one, we did Garden of Eden, which is going to be coming out June 20th, which we can talk about here in a minute. And then Brute 76.
Wow.
Now That's
So,
a Wrap. That's a Wrap is already out, right? Because I think I saw that
Yes.
on Tubi, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, it's on
That's a
Tubi.
Wrap is out, and
Yeah.
it's on most streaming platforms. And we're very, you know, happy about that one. We're trying to get a physical media release for that one because that one only came out digitally. So we're big into physical media and, you know, stuff like that. Like, we love it. And there is you know, people out there do love it too. They still love collecting things like that. So we want to try to do that as well. But yeah.
So what's the name of the production company?
So at first it was Neon War, but then that one didn't work out with the legalities of things. So right now it's KWF Productions.
KWF.
So yeah,
yeah, nice.
We started that in 2022, and we've made 4 films since.
Okay. Very
That's
cool.
a lot
So
of
we're
films.
right. We're all major go-getters.
If a part came along,
and you know,
that
we're
wasn't,
all, Joe, Marcel, and I are all.
Did we lose
Freezing
her
up a
again?
little. Yeah, she's freezing up a little bit.
Oh, I'm here.
It's
Oh.
that LA. It's that LA airway.
What's
but
the
every
question?
time you freeze, you look beautiful. So it works.
Oh,
Right? I'm like, I don't think she's freezing. I just think she's a really good actress. She's like, watch, I'm gonna fuck with these guys.
we'll go with that.
I was starting to ask you if an offer came along to do a non-horror film. Do you want to do that, or are you like, this is my genre, this is only what I want to do?
No, I love telling stories no matter what it is. So like Space Wars, for example, that one was not horror. That was sci-fi action. And
Yeah,
you know,
some
adventure.
with thrillers. Yep.
Yeah,
Some with thrillers, not horrors. Yep.
I love thrillers. I mean, Blind, for example, that one's more of a drama with horror elements than anything.
Mhm.
So as long as, you know, it's a solid script, I love the character. It, you know, it challenges me. Maybe I've never played it before, you know, and it has a great, you know, business plan behind it. I am all ears. I'm not opposed to, you know, anything really.
I like The Art of the Dead. I like that movie. I like the concept of it.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun. I had more of a smaller role in that one, but that one was really well made. I did that one in Vegas with the Mahal brothers, and yeah, it was really good. Tara Reid was in that one. Richard Grieco was in that one. So it was really great, to
A
work
great
with those
cast.
guys.
Oh, yeah, it was a
Yeah.
great movie.
Mhm.
The concept of it is what got me, with the paintings all have their own meaning and everything. Yeah.
Right. And then the paintings come to life
Hmm.
in the film, which was really cool. Like the art direction in that one was just so beautiful. It was very
Right.
well done.
Right. And you really came to life at the end of it.
Oh.
If I remember correctly.
What was that?
I said, if I remember correctly, you really came to life at the end of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was being painted on in that one.
Yes.
Someone was painting me, one of the characters was painting me in blood. And so yeah, that one was interesting.
Well, yeah. See?
From a
Oh,
pro-
Had to-
from a, pro- from a production standpoint, you've been in the business long enough that you've seen the industry has changed a lot the last several years. The platforms and how things are done today, is that making it easier for someone like you to get product made and produced, or is it making it more difficult?
Ooh, that's a really great question.
I try.
Everything is changing, and I hate to say it, but it's not for the better. I think a lot of the problems are, people just don't get paid much anymore. That's one of the biggest problems with streaming.
Mhm.
A lot of distributors don't want to pay. Like, there used to be something called an MG, which is you get money up front. They don't want to pay that anymore, and because they're not making a lot of money with streaming. So as independent filmmakers, it's more difficult actually to try to make your money back. So
Mhm.
when you make a film, you have to go in it knowing that it could take many, many, many years to, make a substantial amount of money back. Unless, for example, you're Terrifier and it blows up. But they still struggled, number one, to get their budget. And, and then you're dealing with all the stuff in the back end and all the deals that are being made. And a lot of times you don't see a lot of that money. So it's a challenge all around as a filmmaker, to, number one, get the money and then make the film and then finish it. And this business is definitely not for the weak.
No.
You have to be mentally prepared, as an actor, but also, as a producer working on the back end, in the behind the scenes, and just
Mhm.
knowing, all the things that, all the difficulties that, that it is. But in the end, as hard as it is, you made your movie, and it's something very special that, that will live with you forever. And it's just a really special thing that, to be able to make a movie from ground up and see the whole process and be a part of the whole process. And,
Yep.
I'm so glad, I was able to do that for a handful of years with my partners. So yeah,
I think-
you learn a lot. You learn a lot
Yeah.
about the
Oh,
business,
yeah.
and you
Yeah,
learn
I
a lot
think-
about a lot of good things. But then, there's also bad things. But you just got to look at it in a positive light overall, because in the end you get to make your movie. So
Right. And I think that there's so many independent filmmakers out there today that a lot of very, very good films are just getting lost in the shuffle.
right.
There's
Right.
just too many of them. I mean,
Yeah,
I go
and,
I go through the streaming services, and it's like there's so many movies, like you can't possibly watch them all.
Right. And I think there's good and bad to that. I would say, anybody can make something and put it on streaming, like, but
Mhm.
make no money off of it. Like, anybody can do that. but it's almost like there should be, they should have certain, you know,
Criteria.
I don't want to, right. I mean, I don't want to sound like a dick or anything, but it's like, or else it just gets over, there's just too much out there, and a lot of it's not good. But, more power to everybody that wants to create. I mean, really, it's just, the way to get past that is to have a really good, is to get a really good distributor and to get good promotion going on. And
I was going to say
that's the biggest thing is promotion.
Yep. Good marketing.
But the thing is, like, distributors don't want to give you money to do that, and so you have to personally do a lot of that, and it's just, it's an uphill battle, I will be honest, but you have to do it, or else no one's going to hear about your movie, and they're just going to skip. Right, just what Jeff said. Right. There's just too much out there. You don't know unless you put money into it and you promote it. Like, that's the biggest thing. You got to spend money to make money. That's just the way it is.
We know that.
Yep. I also want to say, you've won 2021 awards. Is that number going to continue to go up? I think so.
Somewhere around there.
Best actress, best stunts.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, people need to pay attention to what you're doing, because I see you evolving into the next Jamie Lee Curtis, to be honest with you.
Oh, I just got goosebumps.
I've watched at least a dozen and a half of your films.
Aww.
Because I love horror, for one, and you're a great actress. You know what I mean? You're a great actress. And when I'm searching, I knew the interview was coming up, so I search your name instead. Some of them I can't see because I don't pay for services. I don't pay that stuff. So the ones that I see, are generally on Tubi or on Fandango or something like that. But they're all fantastic. I haven't seen one that was like, really?
Oh, well, maybe my older stuff.
No, Bridge of the Damned was a little questionable.
Oh. No, but that's the thing. Like, as an actor, you want to keep evolving and keep getting better, but not just that. You need to, keep focus on doing better and better projects. That's one of the biggest things for me is, back in the day when things were filming, I would get offers all the time for stuff, but I would turn them down because it wasn't something that, I thought would help me progress in my career. Like, some of the stuff, I felt like would hold me back. So, I'm very picky and choosy with the roles I take and with the people I work with, because, you have to be. Back in the day, I would do anything and everything I could just to get credits, just to build my resume and learn and grow. But now I'm picky with what I take. And as an actor, as an artist, you should be. It's okay to say no. And it's okay to, focus on what's going to better your career. And, a lot of times people are okay with it. And other times they're not okay with that. They're like, oh, she's so stuck up. She thinks she's better than everyone. No, I'm doing this for me. You know what I mean? I'm on a certain path and I need to focus on what's going to help me grow. And that's just the way it is. And that's okay.
And look at that, folks. She still agreed to come on the show.
Right?
Of course, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, I had to PayPal her $50, but
well, that's the cheapest one so far. Then
I was going to say you paid me $75, so there.
Woo!
Yeah, that you didn't go away after.
I don't think I've ever seen him speechless.
Right?
No. I am not speechless. I'm choosing through the 75 comebacks I've got waiting for him. They will be lurking in his future.
Yeah, I'll
Right.
get it in my inbox later.
I was just gonna say that.
When the show's over.
Yeah. Don't open that email.
Oh, too funny.
Oh,
Wow.
Christ.
Sarah, you are delightful.
Oh, you guys are so awesome.
A delightful, delightful guest. Truly.
Oh, absolutely. So we are a little over time, which is fine by us, but we don't want to keep you all night, even though we could probably do this for another 3 or 4 hours easily.
Right.
And still not go anywhere and say anything, so it doesn't matter. But
Well, before we get off, everybody please check out Pretty Boy and Blind. Both are now streaming and available. And also Garden of Eden will be out June 20th. It'll be on most streaming platforms with a DVD and Blu-ray to release soon after. And then also Brute 1976 is coming this summer. So get ready for a bloody, beautiful summer.
This
Lots to
woman
follow.
works.
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
So-
We gotta let Jeff know. Try and get her out here next September for his
Vermont
paranormal
Sci-Fi.
and horror con. Yeah.
Well, you know who else would be why am I drawing a blank right now? The guy in Maine.
Oh, Jeff Fulp.
No, Jeff Fulb's Vermont.
Yeah. That
You guys
guy's
will
name
work
is-
this out. You'll work this out between you.
The guy's name is Jeff.
Oh, it is.
I know.
There's too many of you fucking Jeffs, man. Christ. It's
Right?
Jeff. Yeah, Jeff's right there. No, it's Jeff. No,
Right?
Jeff's up in the corner.
Yeah. So speaking of that, do you have any appearances coming up, Sarah? You do conventions, I would assume, right?
I do, but nothing as of now. But I'm, like I said, I'm not opposed to it. So
Okay. Well,
You should definitely be doing the Hollywood show. I'm surprised they haven't just begged you to be on that.
I don't know. I don't know.
well, I'm gonna start throwing your name around. So
We got
Aw.
to get her a good booking agent for conventions.
I mean, we'll see how these, if we get really good buzz with these movies that are coming out this year, then I think, because the goal is for people to come to you. And so if we get really good buzz, then hopefully they'll come to us. So we shall see.
So with that, Jeff Homan. Actually, let's go to Jeffrey Mark. We'll
I
end
knew.
with Jeff.
All right. He's going to ask me, do I have one last question for you? I do. It's a compliment, but I'm asking for a real answer.
Oh.
The camera just loves you. I mean, there are beautiful people, male and female, who look gorgeous walking through life, but the camera goes, eh. And there are other people, the camera goes, oh, yeah. So the camera goes, oh, yeah, about Sarah French. Now, because I'm going to ask you to actually, how old, when in your career did you know that? Because you have to know that, because you're a smart lady and you know what you bring to the table. When did you figure out how much the camera likes you?
Oh gosh. I mean, I would say when I hit my 30s, because I felt a lot of it is all about confidence. And, the confidence that you have, you bring that out, and that comes out when, you meet people or you're on camera or whatever. And that's, I think when I hit my 30s is when I really started to, I guess you could say, blossom,
So last year. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure.
So I'm gonna have to beg to differ with that, because you said back on the farm your friend had a VHS camera and you guys would love to make
not on the
movies.
farm. That was high school.
Okay, well, high school, which is still close to the farm days, folks. It's okay. It's the same area.
Sure.
But anyway, you knew back then subconsciously that the camera loved you because you were the one that always pushed to keep going with making movies. So maybe you just realized it in your 30s, but I'm going to say that it actually loved you from the start, which means you're just a natural at it.
Aw.
I agree.
So,
Thank you.
Mr. Holman, any
Yeah,
last questions?
I got one final question. Why did you kill Scarlet?
Oh, that is a really great question. I get that asked not a lot, but often. So Scarlet Salem was my stage name, and I started that when I first got into modeling. Because my photographer, he was a Playboy photographer, and he told me, he goes, just so you know, all models and actors, they all have stage names. And I was like, oh, really? I didn't know what I was getting into, So he helped me come up with, the stage name Scarlet Salem, because, I was huge into horror films and everything. And I was like, I wanted to be horror related. So Scarlet is, the dark red color in, the old school coffins, and Salem, Massachusetts. So, but in 2011, I started taking acting more seriously, and I didn't want to be typecasted. So I decided to get rid of the stage name and just go with my real name. And
Okay,
that's
done.
the story.
And
Well,
now
I'll
you
tell
can
you-
find her on all social media, folks.
Well, I'll tell you, if you Google either name, you get the same results.
Yeah, so you'll see my older stuff if you Google Scarlet Salem, but you'll see my newer stuff, Sarah French. But there's actually another Sarah French.
Yes, there is.
A journalist.
She's a newscaster in the East
Yeah.
Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll see, they actually did a news article on both of us one time, because people were searching for me and finding her. People were searching her, finding me. It was really funny.
Well, I'll tell you, AI got
But,
it wrong. AI got it wrong because in the search, it says, Sarah French, journalist turned actor.
Yeah.
It does. And it has your picture there.
I don't know.
Come on, report the weather for us.
So AI,
It was cloudy.
AI is
sunny.
is mostly inaccurate.
Yeah, exactly. Don't believe it.
So that last question actually threw me, Jeff, because normally it's like pizza, or animal or something.
Well, I know she owns a snake.
Yes.
And I was really curious why she had to go and kill Scarlet.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
What's the name of your snake? What's your snake's name?
Her name is Eden. And she is actually in the film that we did called Garden of Eden.
Oh, nice.
And that's actually why we got her. So we got her for the movie and kept her as a part of the family.
There you go.
Great.
Sweet.
So
yeah, I'm good. Those are my questions.
Yeah, I usually don't ask a last question, but I'm going to throw a last question that hasn't been asked in a while on the show, and that's one that our producer used to ask when he was on. We've learned a lot about you tonight, but what is one thing that nobody knows about you that you dork out about? Like, do you have a hat collection? Like, do you collect, just weird shit?
Well, I don't collect weird stuff, unfortunately, but back in the day, I used to be a huge Xena and Hercules fan. And I have literally more Xena, but I have literally everything Xena. So they had magazines back in the day. I have all the issues. I have the trading cards. I have t-shirts. I have posters. I have, yeah, big Xena fan. So there you have it.
There you go. So there you go, folks. She is a huge
I have
Xena fan.
I have a Hercules sword somewhere too.
So I thought we weren't getting into relationships tonight.
There you go.
Wah.
Hey, listen, you threw a bad one out early. I figured I could end a show with a bad one, too.
Good one, guys.
So we are going to let Sarah go here in a minute. So before we do, Sarah, where do you like? Oh, that's not Sarah. That's me. There we go. Right button. Where do you like interacting with your fans on social medias?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook under Sarah French, and you can also find me on Instagram at Sarah French Online. And I'm also on X, but that one is Scarlet_Salem. And yeah, I message. So if you ever want to see any of my newer work or work at all, just find me online. And also check out my IMDb as well.
Absolutely. Jeffrey Marks, same question for you, my man.
Facebook on Jeffrey Mark, the way it's spelled right in front of you. I'm on Instagram, Jeffrey Mark Showbiz, all together. I'm on LinkedIn, Jeffrey Mark, and that's a place I publicize our show on those 3 places. And I answer everybody who asks a question. I answer everybody. So I look forward to hearing from you, Mr. Jeff.
And don't wait a minute. Don't forget that in the near future, Jeffrey Mark plays Ella is making a return, from what I understand.
From an audio to a video, and we're going to have all new shows, and they're going to be spectacularly produced.
I wouldn't
Nice.
put that,
Yeah.
Mr. Hoffman, Homan, whoever you are
don't-
tonight.
I'm a Yeti. Just go to stilltoken.com, Token with the Dead on Facebook. All the rest of the links are there because I have CRS and I couldn't tell you what our Instagram is. I know I have an Instagram, but I don't use it. I don't know. Maybe it's I'm getting old. I can't keep up with this fucking bullshit. This X stuff. It used to be Twitter. What
They
the
just
fuck?
released one the other day called K, and it links to StreamYard. I'm like, what the fuck is K?
That's what I mean. They can't. KY. I don't know.
That's the next one.
Too greasy.
I'm old school. Go to stilltoken.com. All our social links are there. Token with the Dead on Facebook. That's it. Follow our schedule. We got I think we got a couple of months off, unless something pops.
Right now.
But then we got back-to-back horrors, and looking forward to it. And give us a follow, give us a like.
Wow. You done? Just curious.
Yeah, now I am.
Okay. Great. I'm just glad we're not on tour and I'm not sharing a fucking room with you tonight.
Yeah.
So, in all seriousness, we want to thank Sarah for coming out, taking
Very
some
much.
time out of her busy schedule to talk about Pretty Boy, the newer movie, Brute 1976, Garden of Eden, which are coming out in the near future. Blind.
Watch Blind first. Go watch Blind first before you watch Pretty Boy. I recommend it.
Are you done?
Maybe.
Okay. I'm just checking. But in all seriousness,
This is the most Jeff has talked in 4 shows. He really likes you, Sarah.
Woo!
so again, we want to thank Sarah for coming out. Check the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. You'll find out all that great information that we've discussed. You can see this replayed on all the platforms. You can listen to it on podcast this weekend. To all our veterans and first responders, we want to thank you for doing what you do so people like us can come up here and do what we do. Stay safe. We'll see you next week. We're out of here.
Have a happy.
So come on.